Now, let's catch up to that truck. Welcome to Primary Technology, the show about the tech news that matters. Lots of news this week. Apple just raised a ton of prices across their product line. We're going to get into that. The Slate Truck, an EV under 30 grand. The pre-orders are out. Meta has made new glasses. And, spoiler, I actually bought some. The Steam console is out there. It's pretty expensive. OpenAI made a chip. New things coming out for iOS 27, tvOS. Instagram's trying to get on TVs. And we're going to do a little follow-up on the UK social media ban. This episode is brought to you by Framer, Copilot Money, NordLayer, and you, the members who support us directly. I'm one of your hosts, Stephen Robles, joined, as always, by my friend Jason Aiton. How's it going, Jason?
I'm good. I'm not even cranky yet.
Not even cranky yet.
I looked at the rundown. It's pretty sure that I will be at some point.
It's coming. Do you know, I try to do it in a voice. Do you know what movie I said? Let's catch up to that truck. You know what movie that's from?
Well, I think I would have gotten it anyway.
Okay, good.
I'm almost sure it's from the original Toy Story.
That's exactly right.
And fun trivia. There's only one human being that Steven and I have both interviewed, but not together.
That is true.
And he was partially responsible for making that movie. He didn't literally make that one, but Ed Catmull.
No. But we have both interviewed Ed Catmull, co-founder of Pixar.
Yep, separately on partially defunct podcasts. Mine is coming back. I actually have a series of interviews lined up.
Okay, good. Yeah,
I'm just doing shorter seasons than we originally talked about.
Okay, very good. Well, I'm excited to see it come back. I'm also excited because our medieval knight riding the polar bear has made it around the world, ladies and gentlemen. Now, we don't have any 5-star review shout-outs, and please help us correct this. Help us get to 500 reviews in Apple Podcasts. Leave us a 5-star rating and review there. But we want to share all the exciting places our medieval knight has made it. He's made it to Asia, South America, Australia. Here's Daniel in Hong Kong. Medieval knight made it over there. Also, we have our friend Aaron, who makes great apps like Home Pass and Home Paper. Primary Tech made it to New Zealand. Also a beautiful photo. I would love to go to New Zealand one day. See all the Lord of the Rings stuff. Have you ever been? You ever been there?
To New Zealand, I have not. My parents have been there, but I have not. It would be fun. I just want to fly in a helicopter over the mountains where they film those scenes.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That. So anyway, thank you for that. So we're in New Zealand. Also, Karpik in India. Got the medieval knight there. I think he got it on his fridge. I don't know what magic he's using over there to get the pin so it's not stabbing the fridge. Maybe he just stabbed it right in the fridge. I don't even know. But thank you for that. Yeah, it's over in India. And we made it to South America. We have Emmanuel from Buenos Aires, Argentina, said say hi to Jason. So hey, Jason, from Emmanuel. But he has pictures here, which is wonderful. Medieval knight near the obelisk in Buenos Aires. I'm not sure what that landmark is.
I don't know.
It's a famous landmark. But here is... He has the pin right there. Very fun. And
I saw that picture, and I just assumed it was Washington, D.C.
No, it is not. It is Buenos Aires. And then Andrew is in Japan. And so the medieval knight, this is Okinawa, riding in Okinawa. And then we also have right here, riding the train from Hiroshima to Kyoto. Our medieval knight with the polar bear is there. So we're on all the continents now. We're everywhere. Also, Ross from North Carolina added us to his bag of pins. I wonder if he's a Star Trek fan. Spoiler, there's a lot of Star Trek fans.
Seems like it's possible.
I think so, which is wonderful. So we've now officially made it to every continent except, I know this is a stretch goal, but Antarctica. Listen, if your neighbor is going on a cruise to Antarctica, your relatives, your aunt and uncle, your grandma, grandpa, let us know. I'll send you a bunch of pins, and they can bring it down there. We're on all the continents except there. We'll get there.
Yeah, and if you just happen across the YouTube video of someone who's going, let us know. Steven has connections. YouTube, they do. It's fine.
Cleo Abram, she was already there, but if she goes again, I'll send her pins.
Maybe we could get Joanna Stern to take robots there.
Oh, yeah. I also want to have her on the show. She said she would come on the show, but she's doing a book tour right now. She's kind of a big deal.
This would be a good place for her to do a book tour. We'd let her talk about her book.
I read her book, and she signed the book.
I brought it to Denver.
Yeah, she autographed the book, which is super fun. I was kind of like a crazy person. I was looking for her everywhere, and I carried the book everywhere around WWDC, and I was always like, where is she at? Because it was like the media breakfast, and I was like, oh, maybe she'll come here. She didn't come there. Spoiler. And I was like, oh, no, I'm going to miss her. Because I was like, if I don't see her on keynote day, I'm probably just going to miss her entirely. And the tech talk happened right after the keynote. And last year, that's when I took my selfie with her. Because after the keynote, people hang around a little bit. But because there was the tech talk immediately after, everyone dissipated. I saw her at the tech talk in the back of the room, sitting next to Nilay Patel, as you do. And I'm like, well, I can't get up during the tech talk. And when the tech talk ended, everybody ran out of the room. So I was like, I don't know if I'm going to see her. And then I was outside the visitor center at Apple Park, and I was with Andrew Clare, YouTube creator, great friend. It was his first time. And I had asked him earlier, I was like, listen, if you see Joanna Stern, please let me know. Just I want to get her to sign my book. And we were just sitting there. I was making videos, and he was like, hey, isn't that Joanna Stern? And she was walking across the visitor center, and I ran like a crazy person. If she had security, I would have been tackled. But she signed the book. She signed the book, so that was fun. All right, breaking news. This is actually the first time we've ever done this. Recorded a segment to insert because news broke while we were recording the full episode. But Apple just increased a bunch of prices. And later in the episode, we're going to talk about how Tim Cook said they were raising. Well, now we're recording that they actually have raised. Everything's updated on their website. I'll link this 9 to 5 Mac article with all the price increases. Everything from the MacBook Neo, which is $100 more expensive. MacBook Air is $200 more expensive. MacBook Pros, $300 more expensive, all the way up to the Mac Studio, which is $500 more expensive, or $1,300 more for the M3 Ultra. It happened. Everything's going. iPads too. A lot of the iPads are, the Air is $150 more expensive. The Pros are $200 more expensive. And one of the most egregious, I think, the Apple TV 4K, which has not been updated in forever, is $200 for the base model, no Ethernet. And the Ethernet version is $250. Same chip, same memory. What do they do? Oh, there's more storage because there's more storage. There's 128 gigs instead of 64. This is a lot of price increases, Jason.
Yeah, okay, a couple things. First, I'm going to just say this. If you're listening to this, you should stop, and you should go to Amazon.com if you need any of these things, because I just was checking prices, and like the MacBook Air is still $949. There was another one that, the iPad Mini is still $399. You better you buy 4 of those, please.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
just saying. So second thing I will say is I'm pretty sure that you and I had this whole conversation about, well, it's going to be in the future.
Right.
But we're recording this in the future, so insert it into the past. And what we said, you asked me, dude, I think they would do it in advance. And I said, yes. So I'm going to take my being right points now that you were right about
in
until
this
later. So
you predicted it
you're
right.
going to be like, when you hear me say that, you're going to think I obviously already knew. But we did not know at the time that this is what was going to happen. We literally pushed stop on the recording, and
I saw
Steven's
this
like,
happening.
what? And I had to go in and let someone in the house and then use the bathroom and come back and record another segment.
Oh, now is the time. Yeah, if you need something, get it on Amazon.
Literally run to Amazon because I cannot. I mean, the funny thing is, like, I'm sure that they're going to keep these prices for now because they're like Prime sales and they already have these things.
Right.
Well, although,
and,
what was the price that you $399 for the Mini? Because right now it's $499
on Amazon?
Yeah.
Then that went up because it was $399 yesterday.
Yeah, it's $499 right now, but it's gone up. That's because the list price says $599.
Oh,
which is so they've adjusted their sale price. So I imagine the MacBook Air, unfortunately, by the time you hear this, may have already changed as well. So,
oh wow!
So which of these do you think is the biggest deal? Because no offense, like this Mac Studio doesn't matter. Let's just be honest. It just
that doesn't matter.
The 16-inch MacBook Pro also doesn't matter. I mean, that's a lot of money. $500 is a huge increase for the 16-inch MacBook Pro, which is actually kind of weird because does the base MacBook Pro come with more of anything than the base MacBook or 14-inch MacBook Pro?
I thought it all came with 1 terabyte drives.
And maybe the memory's different. Oh, you know why? Because the 14-inch MacBook Pro comes with just the M5. The 16-inch comes with the M5 Pro.
Yeah.
That's got to be the reason why.
So, oh my goodness, I feel like a sinking feeling. I don't know why. I don't need to buy anything right now, but
I'm really, really, really glad we bought our daughter a MacBook here already.
Yeah, and I bought my son the MacBook Pro.
Yeah.
So if you were going to get a 13-inch MacBook Air, it is $200 more expensive on the base model. I don't know how the configurator works out, but if you wanted to get 24 gigs of memory and a 2 terabyte hard drive in a MacBook Air, you're looking at $2,300. Yikes. So Amazon has a 24 gig of memory, 1 terabyte, M5 13-inch MacBook Air for $1,387. So you can get it right now for $400 less on Amazon right now. I'm thinking about buying an M5 MacBook Air just because I'm like, I don't know.
Well, Yeah, I mean, and the MacBook Air is $1,299
starting.
And at this point, you can buy a 13-inch with 16 gigs, 512 for $949. So you should buy 4 of them.
Listen, if you needed Apple, if you were, because also like college season, man, they did this before everybody went to college, Jason.
Yeah.
Which maybe they were hoping that everybody did but they run their back to school deals like in August. And they never have sales. They just give away gift cards when you buy an education discount. And, man, stuff is expensive. The iPad, I'm surprised at the iPad. But notably, iPhone is untouched. So iPhone pricing has stayed the same. You can get an iPhone 17 for $799. And, yeah.
That part is surprising because I was pretty sure that they would raise that mid-cycle because when they introduced the new one, they would want it to be the same price. So do you think that this means that they're not going to raise that price?
I don't know. I think, if they announce the Ultra or the folding iPhone, it's going to probably be $3,000 now. They'll just get their margins there.
Yeah, but like 6 people are going to buy that.
Well, no, all of us, all of the tech, not you, but all of us YouTubers, whatever.
I'm buying that thing.
HomePod, Jason, the HomePod is $50 more expensive. HomePod Mini is no longer $99. It's $129. Vision Pro, Jason, is $200 more. Sheesh. I don't even know that's crazy.
Yeah, everything about this is like, we knew it was coming. The amounts are actually not surprising, even though they're shocking. Or is it the other way around?
Yeah.
They're not shocking, even though I don't know. We knew this was happening. Seeing it actually happen, though, I just like literally texted 3 people and was like, hey, I think you might have been in the market for some stuff. You should go right now to Amazon and just buy whatever's in stock because by this afternoon, my guess is that's going to have changed. And again, This is not the end of the world, and it is not surprising. I think I heard the interesting conversation about like Apple just held on as long as they possibly could. Do you think it's because they thought it would resolve itself and they were just hoping to ride it out and then they got to the end of it? Or do you think this is like, no, we knew we were going to do this. We waited as long as we can, but we should do it now before the new guy gets in charge?
Maybe both things. Try to hold out. If they're going to have to do it before John Turnus comes in so everybody can blame Cook. Apple stock did take a hit as soon as all this stuff was announced. But here's the thing. They're probably never going to go down again. Like, you will never probably be able to buy a MacBook Air for $999 ever again.
I think there's a possibility. Yeah, Apple's stock is down a significant amount right now. A decent amount. I mean, I own like 1 share, and it's because it's a paper certificate. I'm not lamenting my stock portfolio. Actually, I may own more. I just don't know it because it's in mutual funds.
Yeah, it's in the index funds or whatever.
But
here's the chart if anyone's wondering.
But it is definitely a significant thing and what the stock market is saying is Apple's going to sell fewer things, right? Because prices are higher. Not, Apple's going to make more money because prices are higher. It's like, oh no, this is the impact of it. And if they're doing it now, that probably tells us something about their next earnings, is the impact of the memory prices. So I don't know. I just think it's a inevitable thing. Do I think prices will come back down? That's a fair question. If anything, like I could see if the prices of RAM even out, like the MacBook Neo and maybe the Air coming back down, or they find a way to bring up the base memory to 24 gigs in the M6 version or something. Do you know what I mean? Like the way they do that sort of thing.
So there was a statement they gave to Reuters today. They said, quote, "We have never seen a component price increase this much this quickly. We have shielded our customers from these increases so far, but we have now reached a point where we need to begin raising prices on a number of products, including today's increases for iPad and Mac. We know this is not welcome news, and we are working tirelessly to find solutions." That makes it seem like they are working to possibly bring those prices back down one day.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would imagine that Apple does not. I mean, they are a premium brand, but like they do not want to be starting the MacBook Pro $500 more than it was yesterday or this morning.
No, and the MacBook Neo was like the biggest news for half of the year, and to raise that $100, it kind of stinks because then the Touch ID version is going to be even more expensive. But
yeah, it's going to be tough.
Charging that much for an Apple TV 4K though, that might be a crime.
Is that the one that you think is probably the most egregious?
I mean, especially for a 4-year-old device.
$70. That is like 65%.
That's what I'm saying, percentage-wise.
Yeah.
And it has not been updated in 1,346 days. I went to the Mac Rumors Buying Guide site. It was released in October 2022. A 4-year-old device to then charge $250 if you want Ethernet. No, Apple. Of all the devices, should have left that alone.
I think that you're right. That's probably the most egregious because even a $30 increase on the HomePod. But it's because the Apple TV has what, 32 gigs of storage or 64 gigs of
64
storage?
and
Yeah,
then
that's
128 for the Ethernet
That's
version.
why.
I know, but the HomePod Mini's not been updated for 2,081 days. It is 6 years old,
And it's just
unchanged.
Well, the HomePod itself.
What memory is even in there? There's nothing in there.
I know. It's really, yeah. And the iMac, the base iMac, which is
base
like,
iMac,
it's fine, but it's like $1,500 for a base iMac.
Listen, for real, if you needed a computer, if you were going to buy your kid a computer for school this year, run to Amazon right now. I'll put my affiliate link in the show notes. No, but don't even care about the affiliate link. Just go buy it before Amazon raises the prices because this is nuts. And this has been a breaking news segment of primary technology recorded afterwards. You're going to hear us later talking the show about, I wonder when they're going to raise prices. Guess what? We know. We know.
You already heard that chapter. You can skip it.
Oh, and ready? I'm gonna keep this in the show, but I'm gonna record the intro. Apple just raised a ton of prices across their product line. We're gonna get into that. That's going to be in the intro. You're going to have heard that earlier. So now this is a recorded after, inserted in the middle with something for the intro.
Bro, the editing of this show is going to be like Inception. It's like...
Don't worry, I'll still get it out in an hour and a half.
It's going to be Tenet. How do you do this?
This is the Tenet episode.
Christopher Nolan to edit this for you.
I need one of those graphs that they have on Reddit or whatever. Okay, thanks for helping back on. All right, Jason, I think the first piece of news is probably really important to you. I feel like you're probably getting this. Did you know that GTA 6 is now out for pre-order? We finally have GTA 6.
I did know. I don't care. I know. Don't send me messages. Listen, I was not allowed to play Grand Theft Auto when I was a kid, okay? So I never got into it.
Same. But I think this is the meme that's been going on for years. It's like what we get before GTA 6. So, well, the meme is finally going to end because it's coming out. November 19th is the full release. You can get for PS5, Xbox Series S or X, $80 game. Ultimate Edition is a $100 game. And one of the most divisive facts about this game's release, aside from being 10 years after GTA 5, if you buy the physical edition... wait a minute, what did I just say? Physical addiction? Freudian slip.
You can reboot that. That's fine.
Yeah, let me restart. Physical edition, you get the box and then a download code in the box. You don't get a physical disc, which I feel like some people are probably not going to catch that and then be very mad when they get their thing.
But you got a box.
You get a box, but the age of physical media, Jason. You know, when I did my Kaleidoscape video, I had 1,000 comments about just saying Blu-rays, and I'm like, Best Buy doesn't even sell Blu-rays anymore.
Right.
I don't even know where you can get them on Amazon, I guess, but they're not. I get it.
There's still a big section at Circuit City.
That is not true. I worked at Circuit City. Okay.
There is no Circuit City.
They are out of business. Okay.
Well, and my 12-year-old, he plays stuff on the Switch, and he'll occasionally go to the library, and we'll just check out games because you can borrow some games and stuff from there.
Sure.
But he actually doesn't, like, if we buy him a game, he prefers to not have the chip. He calls it a chip. The little, It's like an SD card or whatever.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that because he is anxious about putting it in and out of the thing. Because one time he stuck it in backwards, which you're not supposed to be able to do.
No,
but he definitely did.
Ooh.
And so he would rather just download everything.
Yeah, and it's also funny. Like a lot of comments were pre-orders for a digital-only game. Basically, it's like, are you going to sell out? Are you going to sell out of copies? So the pre-order thing is kind of funny. It's like what line are you getting ahead of?
Well, I mean, that's just like you can pre-save songs on Spotify. What does that even mean?
Yeah, that's fair. I guess it just gets downloaded anyway. GTA 6, it's a real thing. It's coming out. So yeah, there's that. Also, what's coming out, an EV here made in America that's under 25 grand. At least if you get the very base model. Did you know about this Slate truck? Had you heard about this before?
We talked about this.
Did we talk about it?
When it was announced.
Okay, well, pre-orders are out. You can pre-order this truck for $300 deposit. The delivery window is into 2027, so this will be coming next year. But this is an American-made. They're designed in California and Michigan.
Michigan. You
That's
know where
right.
the vehicle, the car capital of the world, Michigan.
You should try to get to the factory or whatever. You're right there. They're engineered in
I
Michigan.
don't actually know if they're assembled in Michigan.
They're assembled in Indiana.
Okay, yeah. Well,
They're
I guess
assembled
I
pretty
can still get
close.
to Indiana pretty easily. It's just
Pretty
right
close.
there.
So this is supposed to be an affordable EV, 25 grand. It has a 205-mile range, so not super long range, but the selling point is basically this thing is bare bones. It comes as a pickup truck, and then it is a modular type car where you can add attachments for it to be an SUV with a square back. You can add a row to add 3 more seats for a total of 5 seats. You can have open air, and there's lots of wraps you can get it with. Like, it is the most customization, well, maybe not the most, but it's a lot of customization for a car that you can order here. And again, the idea is that it's simplicity, but that simplicity also means bare bones. Like, there's no infotainment system. Like, there's no screen built into this thing. It's like bring your own screen. And there's a smartphone holder that you can do there. You can also get mounts for things like an iPad if you want to have an iPad as the screen. But it is very minimalistic, physical dials, like for air conditioner. It's like the opposite of modern cars where everything's electronic. A lot of physical buttons, physical knobs and stuff. I kind of want to see this succeed. I feel like this would be, A, just cool if it existed. B, the community that would probably get behind this thing and just build cool stuff for it, like add-ons, 3D printed accessories to put in the dash, all of that. And also like that it is the most probably affordable EV you can get. And like a Model 3 is in the 30,000s. If you get like base model, I think.
Sure.
I don't know. This is cool. And some of the wraps look really cool. And so I did not put a deposit on it yet. But I was like, I don't know. It's kind of tempting.
Don't you still have a deposit on an R2?
Yeah, but you can't buy the cheaper versions until like whatever, years from now. So I'm probably not doing that. But MKBHD has a video of this. His shtick on the autofocus channel of coming out of a plant is in full swing. Every time, which is hilarious. But yeah, he goes through. He has a full tour of the vehicle. Again, this is not the most maybe aesthetically pleasing car. It is small. Like you can touch the other side of the car from the driver's seat. It is not meant for room or being large, but if you're a single person or just you and one other person, like it's probably not a family vehicle, although you can add the other seats. I don't know. I kind of like this. It's not automatic windows. There's that actual turn window stick, I think, on the base model, which I don't know. Maybe people like that throwback, that kind of retro. I don't know. What do you think about this?
I have 2 thoughts. One, firstly, you don't need one, Stephen. I'm glad it exists.
Yeah, I'm glad it exists. Yeah.
But it's like this is not for you. I just want to say that.
No, probably not.
I mean, any more than the framework laptop was for you, right?
Okay, fair.
Okay. Just want to be clear. Also, I think that within 3.5 years, IKEA buys this company because this is basically if they made a vehicle, what it would be.
That's a good point.
Their ordering flow, I was going through the process right now. I was like, I wonder what it would actually take. But it's like you can order the squareback, which is like a 2-door SUV, basically. Yeah. And as you scroll through the thing, it's like, do you also want a tonneau cover? And I'm like, I don't understand.
It's all piecemeal.
But I'm saying, what would you do with the tonneau cover if you have a squareback SUV?
Yeah,
where is the tonneau cover going?
Well, and but I think you can like swap it out yourself, maybe.
Gotcha.
If you wanted to get the other parts, and
if you make it a squareback SUV and put the bench seats back there, I don't think there's room for the cover.
No, there's not. This is cool though. We'll see when it actually ships, if it ships next year. But I like this style right here, the retrograde. That looks kind of cool.
Yeah, it looks like an Atari.
Exactly. Anyway, so that's the Slate truck. You can pre-order it now. It's out there. Another thing you can pre-order is new Meta glasses. So up until this point, Meta has only had the Meta Ray-Bans with the camera and speakers and all that kind of stuff, or they partnered with Oakley and they had the outdoor glasses. Well, now Meta's like, this is their glasses. No Ray-Bans branding. They partnered with, how do you say this? EssilorLuxottica?
Luxottica.
Luxottica. Well, what is the Essilor?
EssilorLuxottica.
Yeah, that. So they partnered with EssilorLuxottica to make Meta glasses. There's 3 styles. You can get the Fury, you can get the Kylie version, or the Meta Adventurer. Now, spoiler, I've never had Meta glasses, but I have ordered these because I'm going to make a YouTube video about them. And I've I think we're safely in the era of stuff on glasses is going to be a thing. Some smarts. And so I've always wanted to have a pair of Meta glasses because for videos, if I want to do like first person POV type stuff, man, it would be nice to not have to hold a camera and I can just record what my face is seeing. And just to try it out. Now, they're $300. If you have a prescription, it's $100 more. So these things are $400 if you have a prescription, which is what I did. It comes with Meta AI built in. It has the speakers. You can talk to it. You can ask what you're looking at. 8 hours of battery. It has the charging case, and there's also this new charging stand that you can get, which I also got that I'm going to put in a video, and we'll see how that is. I have to charge so many things now, Jason. Do you ever get charging fatigue? Just like, I just tired of charging stuff. You ever get that? Do you ever get that feeling?
I mean, I try not to think about it. I just try to charge everything at a specific. I plug everything in at once, and then it's all good to go for basically like a day.
I'm testing a bunch of headphones, which we're going to get to in the bonus episode, and I'm just like, I got to charge. I'm just tired of charging stuff. It's just, everything needs to be charged. But anyway, I'm going to get this little charging stand. Now, can you guess which style I got, Jason?
I'm sure you got the Kylie ones.
I did get the Kylie. I got the Kylie ones that are tiny little ovals that wouldn't even cover my eyeballs. Probably no.
That seems weird.
I got the Meta Furies because I have a big head, so I figured let me get the big frames,
which are basically like Warby Parker ripoffs.
Which is why
they
I
look
got
a lot like what I'm wearing right now.
Because I wear Warby. You wear Warby Parkers too?
Yes, we've talked about this.
I don't know even Warby Parker.
How this is literally the iconic Warby Parker form factor, and you couldn't tell that that's what I'm wearing.
Well, they have a lot of styles now. You know what I mean? I thought you would be a fancy guy that you have to. Okay, yeah, they say Warby Parker in there. Listen, we've been wearing Warby Parker every episode, this entire podcast.
Completely unsponsored.
Sponsor us, okay?
Here's the thing. The thing I hate the most is having to go somewhere and talk to someone about what I want. So
just in general.
That's actually just in general, but especially at the eye doctor. So I go and I get my exam. I do not want to sit down with this consultant who's going to try to fit me for glasses. I don't want anything to do with any of that. No. And so I just say, thank you for my prescription. And I go home and I put it in the Warby Parker app, and then they send me stuff. And I don't have to talk to anyone about it. And
that's fine. Exactly what I do.
I don't think your doctor and the salespeople, they should never
the twain shall meet.
Those streams should not cross. It's like a bad thing. So okay, but let me tell you 3 things about the Meta glasses real quick.
Yes.
Okay.
You there.
First of all, the commercial. Did they not watch Apple's keynote? Because their demos of stuff are just like flying by, and you're like, there's no way that works. There's no way that this is possibly working the way that it says that it's working. And so they did not pay attention to the fact that what Apple got the most credit for was letting us watch it wait.
Demo the
just
things.
Wait, yes.
Demo the
Secondly, I mentioned this to like several people, like, oh yeah, I got to read about the new Meta glasses and they're like, didn't they already do that like 4 times? Like, there's a real problem because no one knows that the difference here is that these aren't Ray-Ban. No, nobody cares. They're still with Luxottica, and they still basically look the same. They're like, wait, they made another pair of glasses? Like, what's different about this pair of glasses than the other ones? I'm like, well, they're not Ray-Ban. It's like, but that. So it's very, very difficult for people to care when you do this.
Yes.
And also, they're not Ray-Ban, which just means they're not like the Wayfarers or whatever.
Right.
But they're still basically the same. It's the same company. It's still Luxottica. Like they're not moving away from that. I don't know. Like, what made you want to buy these compared to any of the previous versions?
So I had tried to buy the previous versions, and it was very difficult to do it with a prescription. I like the Ray-Ban's
the display
website.
Ones or the other one? Just
the regular with a camera ones.
Okay.
I did try to do the display ones as well, and I even tried to
do them in person.
I tried to make an appointment at a Best Buy, and all the Best Buys around here, they were like, we don't know what that is. So the guy on the website, they just wasn't a thing. But I tried to order the Ray-Bans, and they wouldn't let me, or I couldn't figure out how to do the prescription when I ordered it. And to Meta's credit, the ordering process here was a lot easier. You just choose your style. You manually put in your prescription, which was kind of hilarious. Usually when you order glasses like Warby Parker, they're like, upload your prescription. We're going to make sure this is legit, that it's not expired 5 years ago. Meta was like, just put in your numbers. We'll take care of it. And so, like, I didn't have to upload my prescription. I just put in the numbers. Like, that probably leaves a lot of room for error. Especially, people.
Also, they're literally a prescription.
That's the thing.
Which that would be like me, like, yeah, I promise you, I definitely have a prescription for this
Right,
Dilaudid.
this
It's like,
medication.
you can send it to me. It's totally cool. It's fine.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe change that to upload the prescription. But so the ordering process was easier, and I actually got an email just this morning saying they are now working on them. They apparently delivered July 7th, so I'm not going to get them for a couple weeks. But because the ordering process was easy, and I don't know, it feels like the glasses tech. You know, the Snap Spectacles last week, we talked about those. We didn't mention, like, is it Evan Spiegel, the Snapchat CEO?
Sure. Yep.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. Just like all the videos of him wearing them in interviews and stuff, and like his ears are like basically bent downwards. Like, they look very heavy and very uncomfortable. But it's clear everyone's like doing this. We're all doing the glasses. So I just wanted to be able to experience it and speak to it as a creator, as a tech person, and also see, like, is this valuable? Like, I'm gonna go around, and I'm also curious if anybody accosts me because they think I'm recording them. I don't know. Have you ever seen?
But I mean,
videos like
Meta
that?
glasses have been around for a little while. That's not new.
But I don't see them in the real world a lot. Like, I saw when I went to podcast movement conferences, I saw 2 pairs there. And even at CES, I think maybe I saw like 1, but I do not see them out and about. And I'm going to go to like Armature Works, which is like a big food hall here in Tampa, and I'm going to wear them, and we'll see if any Karens come up to me and they're like, "Don't record me." We'll see if that happens.
Yeah. You know, according to Meta's press release,
Yes.
glasses are the most exciting hardware category of the AI era. Now, do you know why, by the way, Meta thinks this?
It's the only hardware they make.
That's it. That's the only reason. They're the most exciting category because it's all we got. We can't sell a phone because you already got your iPhone. We can't sell you headphones because you already have AirPods. We can't sell you a smart speaker because all the people who make speakers works for Google and Apple and Sonos. Yeah.
And we're going to get to how many original ideas Zuckerberg has actually had, because it's shockingly few.
I actually think the number's 0, just to be clear.
I mean, would Facebook be an idea that was original to Zuckerberg?
No, because I don't think he originally came up with the idea.
He just built the stuff
I believe he just
it.
did it, yes.
And MySpace was the thing before that.
Also, no, it was Hot or Not was like the thing before.
Well, that was what he made, yeah. Originally. I don't know. Yeah, we'll get to that. Anyway, we'll talk about it a couple weeks from now. I'll wear the Meta glasses during the show, and everybody can yell at me for recording. Well, I wouldn't be recording them because I'm just recording. I'd be recording my own camera. Anyway, Steam console also is out there for pre-order. This was announced last year, and spoilers, it's really expensive because RAM prices and stuff. So this is it's a black box. The Steam console, if you're not familiar, Steam is the video game platform where you can get a bunch of games. I have Steam on this gaming PC over here. You can also have Steam on your Mac. I'll put a link to the IGN review. And also, Sean Hollister did a Vergecast episode. Can I just say a side note? How are you feeling about the daily Vergecast?
We talked about this last week.
I know, but now it's been like a week.
We didn't talk
or two.
about it on the show. Again, I think that especially David Pierce is like, if they gave out Lifetime Achievement Awards, that he would get one for podcasting.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
I think it's too much of a good thing. I only really listen to the Friday show. That is the Vergecast to me. I feel like they should have launched this as something else. I understand why they didn't. It's real hard to build an audience in another feed. You might as well just dump it in the feed you already got with the audience. I understand that the opportunity to sell more ad inventory is just too good of a thing to pass up, but
Sure.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I have mixed emotions because I just listened to Jennifer Toohey on the smart home episode, and I enjoyed.
Was it the
listening
Roomba one or whatever? No, that was a Decoder.
No, they
That
talked
was
about the
Decoder.
Gemini speaker, and which I actually have being delivered today apparently, and so I'm gonna see what that's like. But I enjoyed that episode with her and Sean Hollister's episode talking about the Steam console. He said a lot of things I don't understand, like graphic cards things and VRAM, and it's kind of fun just to listen to someone just speak extemporaneously about something they were extremely knowledgeable and passionate about. So if you just want to hear that, I would encourage you to listen to the Sean Hollister episode. But I just want a Friday feed, like you're saying. I would love a Friday feed. But anyway, the Steam console, this is basically a Linux PC that has boots into the Steam platform. But because it's a Linux PC, you can do things like connect whatever peripherals you want. And you can buy it, with a Steam controller, which is like its own thing, or you can use whatever controller you want. You can connect a keyboard and mouse to it, whatever one you want. And it's just this discrete black box. It is $1,049 for 512 gigs of storage, $1,128 if you want it with a controller. And if you want 2 terabytes, it is $1,349. And it is this expensive. And Steam has said, we are selling this at cost. They're saying this is just what it costs to make this because of the RAM and storage prices right now. So they are not trying to make a profit on this console. It is just kind of an unfortunate perfect storm where the RAM and SSD prices coinciding with the launch of this box means it's very expensive. But yeah, it's there. Of all the things that I pre-ordered this week, this is not something I pre-ordered.
Yeah, no, it is a real bad time to launch a product that requires a lot of memory or storage.
Oh, and we didn't cover this last week, but Tim Cook in an interview said prices are going up.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I mean, it was kind of inevitable, especially like Ben Thompson talks a lot about how in actual dollars, Apple has been lowering the price of the iPhone for years because it is the same. They did go up $100, I think, this last with the 17 Pro, maybe. Was that true? It went up to $1099 from $999 or something. Yes. But they also changed the base minimum storage amount at the same time. So in that case, but they are going to have to raise prices because like you could buy an iPhone in 2025 for the same price as you could buy an iPhone in 2020, right?
Yeah,
so in actual dollars, they were only like $700, like adjusted.
But he is saying specifically because it's the memory prices.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like essentially the price of an iPhone has been getting cheaper due to inflation.
Right.
So
right.
There's no way they can continue doing that as the costs are going up. They have to make that adjustment.
Tim Cook said, I've never seen anything like this in 40 years as far as the differing. What a picture ABC News used here of Tim Cook about it. Do you think, but here's the question. Do you think that prices will be raised for current products, or will Apple just launch new products this fall at higher prices?
I don't know the answer to that. I would be not surprised if they raised prices. They've been basically, trying to increase or reduce the sticker shock when you log onto the website by cutting off the bottom model.
The bottom
tier.
That's what they do with the Mac Mini.
Price. Yeah. So you get used to those larger dollar amounts, even though you're essentially getting the same value for that. I wouldn't be surprised if they just make an adjustment so that when they release things, they're the same price, and they can that way you're taking a hit on products you're basically not selling anymore. And so it's like, okay, this might slow down sales on a product that we're not, like the iPhone 17 Pro. I know Apple still sells them. They don't sell nearly as many of them now as they're going to sell 18 Pros in September. And if you just slow that process down and then you can promote a new price that's essentially the same,
right?
I think that's better math than introducing a new product with a higher price.
Yes, but man, that's going to be weird, and people will have things to say about it.
Of course they will, but also everything is getting more expensive.
Yeah,
and I think people understand. The challenge is like this is going to be the new baseline. It's not like Apple's going to go back down. What's hard is all of Apple's devices require more RAM in order to run Apple Intelligence. It's hard to get RAM right now because all of that Apple Intelligence is running on NVIDIA server or NVIDIA GPUs in Google's cloud. And guess what? All of those things require a whole bunch of RAM. So it's like a double-edged sword where it's like we need more RAM. It's more expensive to build our products, and the reason is because we need the RAM in order to run the AI, and the AI is using up all the RAM.
I also think when and if the Mac, well, not if, but when the new Mac Studio comes out, whether that's an M5 or an M6 at this point, who knows, that it will be more expensive, but also the higher tiers will be way more expensive, I think. Like if you want a Mac Studio with 128 gigs of memory or 512, if that's even an option.
I don't think it will be yet. Maybe later, but I don't think at launch it will.
Well, I think the 128 gig model will probably be astronomical compared to what it was, which was already expensive to upgrade the RAM on any Mac.
Sure.
But that's where the margins are.
But you can get a MacBook Pro with like 128 or something like
128
that for like $6,000.
And and that price has not changed yet. But I imagine that's one of those tiers that we'll see go up.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of chips, I'll just throw this in here before we take a break. OpenAI has made their own chip. So here's Sam Altman cheesing with the chip that they've partnered and made in collaboration with Broadcom. They called it Jalapeno. Okay. But anyway, they're trying to make this chip because they don't want to be as dependent on NVIDIA for all their chip stuff. It's going to be a long time before they get away from that, I'm sure.
I mean, hold on.
Yes.
There's a company who notoriously wanted nothing to do with NVIDIA for years. And in fact, they bought a company called PA Semi so that they could make their own processor so they wouldn't have to use Intel either.
Right.
And they just announced that they're going back to using NVIDIA GPUs. Apple. Like,
Yes,
come on.
Apple.
Like, you're not going to get away from it. Like, if you want to
yeah.
do AI, which I think OpenAI wants to do AI.
You think?
I think it's part of their business plan.
Yes.
Yeah, this is not. There's no way. This is like, that's great. This is just marketing.
Yeah, and so this is also designed for inference, and to make that distinction, inference, the process of running the models is when you ask ChatGPT something, that's inference. Whatever processing it's doing in real time as you're making that request, that's the inference part. So even if it uses this chip for the inference side, which maybe one day, a couple of years from now, it'll get cheaper because they're using their own chips, quote unquote. There's still all the training part of the models, which is where a lot of processor intensive work has to be done. And so this is not for that. That will also still be NVIDIA for a long time.
Well, and I mean, I don't think this is a GPU, is it? I think it's a CPU, right?
It is a CPU.
Which that's fine. Guess what those CPUs do? They just send all the work to GPUs. Right?
Unless it's like real simple, I guess. Like the fast models, maybe?
I still think it, because that's NVIDIA's big thing, is that you can buy the stack that has their CPU, their GPU. Like, I don't know. I mean, I think this is marketing.
Yeah, you're probably right. All right, we're going to talk about some changes. The iOS 27 Beta 2 came out. I did a video on some of the smart home changes, but also I'm excited for these rumors about Apple TV because we might see some stuff coming in the fall. So let's get to that. But before we do, I want to thank our friends at Copilot Money. Listen, you need a nice way, a great looking way to manage your money, keep it organized, let you know when you have those subscriptions coming up, what you can cancel, and Copilot Money is the way to do it. Copilot Money is a beautifully designed money tracking app that helps your finances feel clear, calm, and fully under control. It brings all your spending, net worth, savings goals, budgets, and investments into one intuitive dashboard, and it automatically categorizes your spending. Listen, if you've used budgeting apps in the past and you have to manually categorize all this stuff, that's a thing in the past. You don't have to do that anymore. No more manual spreadsheets, no micromanaging your budget, and you can track those subscriptions like I mentioned, set those flexible savings goals, and it's available as a beautiful app on iPhone, iPad, Mac, and the web, so you can use it everywhere on all your devices. Plus, it's a fast and easy setup. Everything is customizable, and it's privacy first. Your data is never sold. No ads or upsells, the only personal finance app to win an Apple Editor's Choice Award, and it's an Apple Design Awards finalist. Plus, it's a 4.8 star rating in the App Store. So here's what you do. You're going to go to copilot.money/primary, and you can get 2 months for free. That's copilot.money. You can get 2 months for free. And it's a beautiful way to manage all your stuff. Highly recommend copilot.money/primary. That link is also in the show notes. Our thanks to Copilot Money for sponsoring this episode. And another beautiful way to make websites, which is Framer. Framer is a powerful website platform. And if your team wants a website that looks and feels handcrafted but is still fast to ship, Framer is built for that. You design on a visual canvas with responsive layouts, hosting, and a CMS built in. One of the cool things you can do, which a lot of other website platforms, they're not as flexible as this. You can do stuff like A/B test your homepage. We did a lot of this with Riverside and places I was at before. I A/B test YouTube titles literally every video. And you can do that with Framer. You can see what landing page actually converts more customers, changing the copy, changing the images, all of that. And Framer is the pro site builder for creators, teams, and businesses that want a professional site and care enough to get every detail right. And agents and humans work in tandem. Agents bring speed and scale, people bring taste, judgment, and control, all in Framer. And agents and Framer work alongside teams to streamline collaboration on the same canvas, build custom code components, create and manage CMS content, optimize SEO, and a ton more. And Framer is an enterprise-level solution powered by agents that provides premium hosting, enterprise-grade security, and 99.99% uptime SLAs. So learn how you can get more out of your site from a Framer specialist or get started building for free today at framer.com/primary for 30% off a Framer Pro annual plan. That's framer.com/primary for 30% off. Framer.com/primary. Rules and restrictions may apply. That link is also in the show notes. Our thanks to Framer for sponsoring this episode. And finally, our friends at NordLayer with one of the coolest landing pages for our podcast. Got our artwork right there. I love it. But NordLayer, it's a network security platform for modern teams across different work environments. It enables secure access to company systems with centralized control over users, devices, and network activity. Who's it for? It's for business owners. Protect company data as your team works remotely or across locations. No hardware or complex infrastructure required. That's a huge deal. And for IT admins, you can grant access based on identity, device, and context. Monitor user activity and device health all in one place. And it also blocks malware, phishing, and risky domains, enforce security policies automatically, and a ton more. And what are some use cases? You have high-speed performance, up to 1 gigabit per second. Every connection is encrypted, and dedicated secure gateways for traffic routing, site-to-site connectivity between offices. If you're trying to figure out how to get that network across multiple physical locations, NordLayer can help with that. And users are verified by SSO plus MFA, cloud firewall enforcement, and a ton more. So here's what you do. You get an exclusive offer up to 22% off NordLayer yearly plans plus 10% on top of that with the coupon code Primary Technology and the number 10, all one word. You try it risk-free, 14-day money-back guarantee, but go to nordlayer.com/primary technology. Get up to 22% off yearly plans plus 10% on top with coupon code Primary Technology 10. All that info is in the show notes as well. Thanks to NordLayer for sponsoring this episode. All right, have you put the beta yet on your main iPhone?
No, I haven't. But I do need to make a correction
first
before I go too far.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to do this because I just know our listeners. You're very astute. And some of you are going to leave us comments. Some of you already have because we didn't do this correction. But I think when I made the comment about hot or not, you said something about Zuckerberg made that. But he did not. It was made by someone else. But they basically copied it with like the swipe thing with the whatever they called that thing, friend feed or face swap, the Facebook. I don't even know.
Friendster?
Anyway.
No,
that was something different too. But anyway, okay. I just wanted to correct it. If you left a comment, you can go ahead and delete it now. We know that Mark Zuckerberg did not make hot or not. He made a copy of it. So, sorry.
Speaking of which.
Anyway, what was your... Oh, go ahead.
The social... you saw the Social Network movie back in the day,
Yes.
Right? Yes. And now they're making the sequel, The Social Reckoning.
Yes. I have not seen that, obviously. But, yeah.
It is with the guy from Succession.
Yeah.
What is his name? Jeremy Strong is playing Mark Zuckerberg. And The Social Reckoning, it comes out this year. Is it already? I don't think it's already out. But we talk about Aaron Sorkin a couple weeks ago, just as a writer. He's doing all the things for this movie. He's the director. He did the screenplay. He's the producer. This is an Aaron Sorkin joint.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, so there's two. I mean, I'm a big Aaron Sorkin fan. We've talked about, like, I've told you, like, we had this conversation over chat about The Newsroom, which I told you was like one of the foundational legs of the Holy Trinity of Aaron Sorkin television, along with Sports Night and The West Wing. He also did A Few Good Men. Yeah. He did the play. He did a Broadway or a play, To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, anyway, the thing about The Social Network is that people don't talk in real life the way Aaron Sorkin writes. So when you're writing a not a documentary, but like a true story, it's kind of tough because it's like they did not talk about it like that. Like it's way too clever. But yeah, but I still want to see it. So although you can't beat Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg.
And apparently tried to get Jesse Eisenberg back, and they did not.
He's like, no, I've already been known as Mark Zuckerberg for part of my life. I'd like to move on from that phase.
Apparently, I've heard, because this was a part of another show, but if you listen to Jeremy Strong do the voice of Mark Zuckerberg, he does nail the voice. He sounds like Mark Zuckerberg sounds today. And this is apparently about one of the whatever happened a number of years ago that was like a controversy within Facebook. Not the Cambridge Analytica stuff and not anything in the last like 5 years. This is about another contested thing. So I'm not even sure the event it's covering. But The Social Reckoning, I don't know, maybe we should do a movies on the side mashup and do The Social Reckoning.
Tech versus,
Yeah, do the tech thing. But the original Social Network was amazing. Like, that was a great movie. And, you should drop the Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for that correction. I want to talk about iOS 27 real quick. Beta 2 came out, Everyone's saying Siri AI is much faster. Also, Shortcuts got an automation toggle, which is very nice. So if you go to the automations page in Shortcuts in iOS 27 Beta 2, you can now toggle on automations much easier, which is great. I'm not running it on my main iPhone yet. I'm running it everywhere else. And I did a video on the smart home updates, all the things coming. And apparently in the code, this was found via Macworld, actually found code in the beta. I'll actually link the Macworld article. Seems to imply Siri AI is coming to future Apple TVs and HomePods. I am so hoping this fall, like this was the thing that was supposedly holding up new HomePods, new Apple TVs, and maybe the HomePod with a screen, was Apple's Siri AI. And maybe we didn't talk about this, but now like it's out there. Siri AI is the thing. It's actually pretty good. Everyone's using it. I'm using it. It's gonna be here in the fall, maybe. And the Macworld found code that we might finally get a new Apple TV hardware and a new HomePod. And interestingly, tvOS 27 dropped support for the first Apple TV 4K model. So if you have the oldest Apple TV 4K, it's not going to get tvOS 27. You have to have a second or third generation Apple TV 4K. And maybe that means new Apple TV hardware with Siri AI, HomePod with Siri AI. One can hope, and I am hoping.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense that the iPhone and the Mac and the iPad, those are all devices that can exist without Siri AI, right? Like they've all existed. Siri's been terrible on them. So you would release it there first. Because, yes, I think they knew that it was good, but they needed to pressure test it in the wild and like get it out there. Yeah. It does make sense that they didn't introduce devices that depend on it. And that was like the holdup, I guess, with especially the HomePod with the screen was like this relies on Siri AI.
Right.
And so it's like, well, that makes sense. Let's get it out there and make sure that we get the actual thing out of beta before we release a product that is entirely dependent on it. Also, like they wouldn't have announced a product now that requires software that's not coming till September.
Correct. Right. Yeah. So they're not going to announce it. But one other an encouraging footnote. Okay. Siri AI, it does not require the newest iPhones. I think this is a confusion I keep seeing online. The better on-device dictation model and the expressive voice for Siri. Those are the two things that require the newest hardware. iPhone 17 lineup, iPhone Air, and iPads with M3 or MacBooks with M3 and newer. Those are the two things that explicitly require newer devices. But Siri AI is coming to a bunch of devices, and I'll put this Apple Newsroom article about Siri AI because it lists all the models that are getting Apple Intelligence and Siri AI in iOS 27, and it includes everything from the iPhone 15 Pro and newer, so every iPhone that has Apple Intelligence and newer, and this is going to come into our Prime Day personal tech things because I posted about an iPad mini sale going on for Prime Day, and people were like, it's not even going to get Siri AI. It is. The iPad mini with the A17 Pro will be getting, it has Apple Intelligence now, and it will be getting Siri AI come this fall.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, the MacBook Neo is getting it. That's an A18 chip. The iPads, M1 or later, even Apple Watch SE3 when paired with an Apple Intelligence iPhone. So, but what I think is interesting there is the iPad mini A17 Pro. That's going to get Siri AI. What is the chip in the Apple TV 4K? I'm going to try and look it up now.
It's like the A12 Bionic or something.
It is old. I'm not going to lie.
A14? I don't know.
It is the A15. It is the A15. And it has been a number of years since it has come out. I think 2022 was when the last 4K model came out. So, all that being said, if we get a new Apple TV come this fall, even if it uses the current old chip, which I would say the iPad mini has an old chip, the A17 Pro, even if they just put that in the Apple TV 4K, that means it would be capable of Siri AI and all the Apple Intelligence stuff. And I do want Siri AI on my Apple TV. I want it to be smart enough to tell me how tall is Brad Pitt or whatever. Or give me some movie recommendations, give me some world knowledge. Let me ask, what is a black hole? How does it work? Like, let me ask all that stuff of the TV. And so I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, Apple TV and HomePod this fall, new hardware with Siri AI. Calling it.
I do want to say two things.
Yes.
One, I can understand why people are confused because there's essentially 3 tiers.
Yeah.
iOS 27 will go all the way back to, I think, the iPhone 11. Obviously, though, you don't get the Apple Intelligence features or the Siri AI features, but I believe they said the iPhone 11 is getting up
Everything from the iPhone 11 and later, yes.
Yes. Okay, and then this is it. This is last year because they've already said that the iPhone 11 series is not vintage, but like
obsolete.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it is vintage, but not obsolete. Whatever. This is it. This is last year. You're getting any updates for that one, and then the 15 or newer get the Siri AI, and then the 17 Pro get the expressive voices, which require that most advanced item. But anything that can send to private cloud compute can still get a Siri AI, right?
Yeah.
And that includes a much broader range of things. Now, the TV thing, I think it's cool. I don't want anyone shouting at my TV during a movie asking how tall Brad Pitt is, because you know what you can do? You can shout at your phone. It's fine. I know it's a fun party trick, but like, do you really want to do those things on your TV while you're enjoying a movie? Wouldn't you rather just sit at your phone? How tall is Brad Pitt in whatever?
Not while you're watching a movie, but as you're browsing around, or if you want to ask it, what was that movie that had Jennifer Lawrence and Michael Fassbender? I want my Apple TV to tell me X-Men First Class. You know what I mean? I want it to be able to answer those questions intelligently.
I mean, the only benefit is then if it says, "Did you want to watch it?" But like,
yeah.
But I mean, I feel like the phone is still a better format for that,
Maybe.
Or your watch.
I think it should be smarter. Also, with all the Apple Home stuff, because in my video I talk about the Home app now has better descriptions for what's happening, and you can search it in natural language. That would be cool to do on the TV too. At the very least, to be able to see, like, show me all the packages that were delivered, or be smarter about what notifications coming up. But to your point, the iPhone 11, actually last year in September, the 11 was added to the vintage products list from Apple. So it is considered vintage, but still getting iOS 27. So there you go.
Yep.
And I think this is this is the list. I'll put a link to this. This is Apple's support article that lists all the products on the vintage list. There's a lot of Macs, all the iPods. And yeah, 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max are on the vintage list. There you go.
Yep.
And obsolete is a different designation. The iPhone 8 is the newest iPhone that is on the obsolete list.
I think that means they won't service them anymore, right?
They won't service them. That's the thing. All right, so that's the tvOS thing. Stay tuned. I mean, all the it's beta season. I've resisted putting the main beta on my iPhone just yet. I'm close. I'm close because I want to be able to speak to using Siri AI day to day, and being on the iPhone Air, because I don't carry it around with me, I'm not using it, and I might. Oh, and the smart home notifications have not been bettered yet, because as you can see, I have a ton of smart home notifications.
And beta 2 still doesn't let you see the photos.
Oh, it won't let you. It won't.
You can't pull up
screen.
a photo and be like, "What kind of dog is this?"
Yeah.
But if you screenshot it and you ask it, it will do it. I don't understand.
Well, there's also shortcuts. For a long time, the action was get what's on screen, which only worked with Safari and maybe Apple Maps, where it would get the URL for whatever you're looking at on screen. It was not a good shortcuts action because it didn't work in most contexts. That's changing to a get what's on screen AI context action, and that's not there yet. There's actually a message in the Shortcuts app that's telling you this action is being deprecated for this other action, which is interesting. I don't think Apple and Shortcuts has done that before, being like, hey, this action is going away, look for this new action. But that is coming. I want to try get what's on screen. If you tap the little eye, it says, or if you add it to a thing, oh no, it changed. I need to do a video on this. Sorry.
We have to end the show right now, Steven.
We have to.
I
gotta go. No, the get what's on screen action. This was not the case before. You couldn't choose what to get on screen. It was just a blank get what's on screen. And now you have this full list of stuff where you can, get reminders, pull phone numbers. Oh, this is very exciting. And for the scope, you could do all visible or focused app only. That is very cool. I'm very curious now. Well, I know what video I'm doing this weekend. Okay.
Amazing.
You got that.
I'm glad this was a productive recording for you.
And listen, I get ideas. You know what I mean? I get ideas. And I needed something else for the video this weekend, so that works out well. All right, real quick. Google Play Store payment processing, they're changing the percentage take. This is the constant push and pull of regulators and countries trying to get the app stores to lower their percentages. And now the Google Play Store, if you have an app that makes less than $1 million annually in the Google Play Store, they will take 10% of your earnings. If it earns over $1 million, they will take 20%, but on renewing subscriptions, only 10%, even if you make multi-millions of dollars with your app. They also announced a new Level Up in Apps experience, which will have lower fees. I'll link the Verge article that has this breakdown. But just to compare that to Apple's small business program, which is also up to $1 million a year, 15%, so still higher than Google. And if you make over $1 million, Apple's still taking 30%, the highest of all the percents from developers. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. I'd be curious if we have app developers who... I know we have app developers who listen, but I'd be curious if this affects anyone.
I have been asked why I didn't make my app available on the Google Play Store. And I mean, the answer is I don't care. But the other answer I tell people, no, that's not really true. I would. It's just that, like, it's just entirely based on CloudKit in terms of being able to sync between devices.
Right.
And you have to move to a completely different sort of a system. And they do exist.
Apple Intelligence also is in part of your app,
that's true. There are other options for some of that, but I did not want to build completely two different separate things. And the expectation would be if I had an Android device and a Mac, that I'd still be able to share notes between them.
Right.
And I just am not going to try to figure that out.
You'd have to build your own sync engine, basically.
No, they do exist. Like that sort of, I mean, like Dropbox works on multiple devices, like, right? And
sure,
there are other types of things that do that. It's just I'm not going to.
That's hard. That's hard. Listen, vibe coding is kind of hard. It's hard enough. Like just getting to AI.
The CloudKit part was probably the hardest part.
Yeah. The syncing. And that's why, Bear, Things, they all make their own sync engine because CloudKit is, like, while very good, it's also not 100% all the time.
I have found that it does what I need it to do. It's just that I had to work out what I had to be able to tell it, what do I want you to do in certain situations? Like if I have a note open on my Mac and on my iPhone, what do you want to do? How do you decide what to sync and when? Because if you accidentally like delete the entire note on an iPhone and it immediately syncs and then it deletes it on your Mac, like that's probably not what you want.
So what instructions did you give it?
I said, just don't mess it up.
That's what you told Claude.
No,
don't mess it up.
Thankfully, it was like, well, here's what the best practice is to have it, how it should behave in certain ways. Okay. And on the phone, I do have a save, so it does not sync to the cloud until I hit that save. Right, so I could make changes on it, and then if I hit save, they will populate in the other places. Gotcha. Whereas in the Mac, it just does it on a time, like every so often, it's syncing in the background. So version control is a hard thing.
Yeah, it is hard, and I even get like in Bear sometimes the sync conflicts, and it'll show me two versions of the note.
Yeah,
which I appreciate that behavior because at least it doesn't overwrite what it thinks I didn't want. It'll show me both notes and it'll be like, which one did you want to keep?
Yeah, Ulysses does the same thing, and it'll ask, do you want to keep one or the other or both? And I just always say both. Like I can just tell, don't ask me. I don't know what I did. Just save them both, please.
I just don't want to lose anything. I will mention here because a lot of people have been sending me the link. Bear, the makers of Bear, which is Tiny Frog, I believe, they made an app called Letera. I'm not exactly sure, but it is like an Obsidian type app where it is a Markdown notes editor, but it strictly looks at Markdown files in your folder structure on your Mac. It is in beta right now. It's Mac only. I think they're going to release it for the rest of the platform soon. I have downloaded it. I did export all my Bear notes as Markdown files, tried to get it in Letera. It is a beautiful app. Bear and Tiny Frog makes beautiful apps. I immediately realized Bear is too good, and I'm not going to move away from Bear because trying to organize the folder structure and Markdown files from Bear, like I actually had Claude doing it for me. I said, Claude Cowork, here's my Bear tags. Here's my folder with all my Bear notes as Markdown files. Make them the same. Organize them the same. And it did an okay job until it didn't, and it's not been exactly right. And Letera, it's a beautiful app, but it's still not as robust as the Bear app. And so while this is very interesting to me, and if you are all in on Obsidian but want something that looks nicer, You can try Latera because then you can just point it at whatever folder your Obsidian notes are in and just try it, just see what you think. Maybe even use both in tandem, for different reasons. But it is a beautiful app. I'll be keeping an eye on it, but I'm still sticking with Bear. I'm still all Bear all the time. Are you still Apple Notes by default? Or you're Contextually for your notes? Duh. But do you use Contextually for all notes now?
Everything except for when I'm writing like articles and stuff.
And you use Ulysses for that?
Yep.
But I thought you were a big Apple Notes guy. I thought you used...
Yeah, but it didn't have the two things I wanted, so I built an app. It's basically Apple Notes plus those two things.
But did you export all your notes and import them into Contextually?
I did.
And do you have collaborative notes too?
Only with my kids, like they'll share certain things, but that is a feature that I'm working on.
Oh, interesting.
So that
little teaser there.
Yeah.
That is also the one reason I go into Apple Notes is I have a couple collaborative notes.
Yeah. The one thing there is a solve for this. I don't have locked notes in Contextually. It's not a thing. Yeah. I do have a couple of those in Notes. They're not like, these are all things I could move to 1Password or something like that, but it's like I do have a note of recovery codes because you know how sometimes you get the thing and it's like, put these codes somewhere safe. You're going to need them someday. Yeah. And then I have one that's like kids' Apple IDs and passwords and Gmail, like just so that in a locked note. Yeah, because I don't want to save those as credentials. I just want to have a backup in case the kids. I don't log into those things. And so I just saved them as a locked note. It's like, it's fine. Eventually these kids are going to take ownership of their own stuff and I'm not going to care anymore.
No, I know. But do you use the Passwords app, Apple's Passwords app?
I do.
Because I keep all their credentials in there and we have shared groups in Apple Passwords. And Apple Passwords is pretty good at when you're logging into a website like appleid.apple.com. It'll show you the one you use the most, which would be mine.
Right.
And then you just click for more to see the other ones.
Well, and using the passwords in Brave works, but still cumbersome because you're always typing in the 6-digit code in order to enable the passwords. Also, I don't ever use it. I've literally never logged into these accounts. It's because my kids are like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. I can just literally open the note. It's pinned to the top. It's locked. Put Touch ID, as opposed to going into the passwords where you search for Google and it's like I have 1,600 entries for Google.
Yeah, I get that, dude. Because I also have 1,000 Google accounts that are clients that I had built websites for over the years. So I do have like 50 Google accounts.
Well, also the problem is sometimes I have the same credential saved 4 times because it's like accounts.google.com, youtube.tv, Google, like gmail.com. Like if you save them separately, it does. And then the pain is when you anyway. It's
one day I'll never have the time or want to do this, but to go through and actually add all the website variations to the one login. So it's
if Claude Cowork could go into my passwords app and just combine them, it can't. But I don't know if I
want Claude doing
I know, but I'm just saying that would be the scenario.
That's one of the areas I'm like, you know what, Claude, stay out of my passwords. You don't need to
leave it alone. It's fine.
Leave that alone. Another one I want to stay away from my passwords, Mark Zuckerberg. I just had to throw that in there. We've talked multiple times already, but it's just Zuckerberg. He wants to make a Polymarket clone, but without real money. Now, if you're not familiar, Polymarket, it's the prediction market. It's gambling on whatever. Like that's what Polymarket and Kalshi. I actually watched the John Oliver last week tonight on all the Polymarket stuff, which is insane. But yeah, he wants to create a prediction market, and the reason I put this in here is because I don't know the last time Mark Zuckerberg had an original idea for a product. I mean, Meta Ray-Bans, smart glasses have been a thing. Google Glass was a thing. When was the last time Mark Zuckerberg had an original idea? That's the question. I don't know.
To buy Instagram.
I guess that is an original idea.
And maybe somebody else had tried to do it before him. I don't know.
Instagram stories came from Snapchat. Reels came from TikTok.
He's the only person in the world who cared about that.
And now that's dead.
But I'm saying maybe that was an original idea. So far his batting average of original ideas, not great.
0 for 1, maybe 0 for 2. Polymarket. Anyway, so there's that.
Prediction market's bad. Just to be clear, money or no money, they're bad because what they do is they incentivize people to change outcomes that would. Like it changes the incentive for the outcomes. Like the number of times we read stories about like insider trading on prediction markets, which apparently is also a thing. It's like, someone places a massive bet that someone won't become elected in their primary, and the day before that person just drops out of the primary.
Correct.
It's like, this is not great.
It is not great. It is way too easy to manipulate from the people who, because you could bet on anything.
Yep.
You can bet on the day iOS 27 comes out, probably. I haven't looked that up, but don't do that. Don't do that. Also, Instagram is trying to get on TV, which I'm like, they want you to watch. They want to upload horizontal video to Instagram, and they're also going to let you watch Reels on smart TVs. Series will be a thing, so you can follow multiple series. Everybody wants on the smart TV.
Yeah, because YouTube is like dominating on the TV now, and it's their fastest growing market, and they're like, oh, we should do that. I don't think this.
It won't fly. No.
This can't be a thing.
This is going to be like the, what is it, Quibi? That was like the horizontal vertical platform where you can watch it either way. No, not happening. Also, side note, as I've been in Vision Pro playing around with the betas, I noticed that the TikTok app no longer works in Vision Pro. TikTok actually had an app for Vision Pro, and it was kind of interesting because being in Vision Pro, who cares if the window's vertical or horizontal? You can put it wherever. It can take whatever space. You know what I mean? And
it's everything at once. It's OpenGate.
It's OpenGate. OpenGate Vision. And it was actually interesting to kind of scroll the vertical feed in Vision Pro. You could just kind of have it off to the side or whatever. But I went to open the app the other day, and it's just like, nope, this doesn't work anymore. I was like, okay, that's interesting to put the app in there and then stop support, which I'm like, you never update it again. Just leave it alone.
Is it just because it doesn't work in 27?
I think I tried it before I updated to the beta. But yeah, so there's that. Okay, I wanted to do a little bit of follow-up on the UK social media ban. We got a lot of feedback from people. Thank you for writing in. I know there were some strong feelings. We got also a lot of emails and comments from social media. And I don't typically want to follow up on big topics like this, but I wanted to make it clear, because if someone interpreted our segment last week as though we are in favor of social media platforms because we might feel against the ban, that is not the case. It can be equally true that we are not in support of a social media ban, but also not in support of the social media platforms and how they exist. Those things can be true at the same time. And there were also a couple of details that I wanted to make sure we cleared as far as just the nuts and bolts of things. So let me do that first. We mentioned last week about age verification and how you might have to upload a photo ID to verify your age. And someone on YouTube commented that's not required for this age verification. And to be clear, it's actually much more confusing than that, because age verification is done by various third-party entities depending on the platform. Sometimes it's required and sometimes it's not. So if this ban goes into effect come spring 2027, platforms like X, the social media platform, if you wanted to use it and you needed to verify your age, that actually enforces uploading an ID. Things like Discord, it's a combination. That it's an ID, Veritad is identifying age for Discord, but it's also going to use on-device facial estimation along with the ID. Also, platforms like Reddit require a selfie or government ID. So on and so forth. Meta, which is Instagram and Facebook, it is using YOTI, facial age estimation plus ID, although it might always be required. So it is much more complicated when you look at per platform. No, you may not be required to upload your ID to get verified on all these platforms, but some you may, and some, scanning your face and using AI for age estimation has been notoriously inaccurate in other parts of the world. It might take a teenager and age them up, giving them adult access, and it has also taken adults and aged them down, and then losing access to a platform because it thinks that they are younger than they are, and then people have to go through all the steps of actually verifying it in other ways. So it is a complex situation. No, it might not require ID, but it might require things like credit checks or credit card checks, or your email address, which would be connected to your financial institution. They might verify your age that way, which you can decide whether you prefer to upload a driver's license or state ID or to connect your banking email finances to an age verification service. I would prefer to do neither, honestly. But so all that to say, it is much more complicated. No, it is not just upload your ID to the things, but it varies widely per platform. So I just wanted to correct that.
And I also just want to, can I interject real quick?
Please, yeah, you go.
There are two completely separate fights over this. One is whether the government should be requiring age limits. And the subset of that is what those age limits should be, right? I think in the U.S. it's already 13, essentially. right?
Yes.
But there's no
Yes.
age verification requirement associated
Correct.
with that. Okay, so that's one fight. Should the government be requiring age limits? The second one is who should be responsible for verifying those ages. Now,
Right.
nobody wants to be responsible.
Nobody.
And all of the platforms believe that Google and Apple should be responsible. Now, let's be honest. That's probably the right answer if this is going to be a thing. And the reason for that is twofold. Especially in Apple's case, we'll set Google aside for a second because I don't have any Google devices that I'm going to have to verify my age on. I'd much rather, I already let Apple scan my face for Face ID, right?
Which
I
is
already
on device and doesn't get sent anywhere.
I already gave it my digital ID.
That's fair too.
Right?
Yeah,
My
that's
passport
true.
is in there.
Yes.
So I much prefer it be Apple. And if Apple sets your age, then it's like a hard feature encoded in, okay, you can't download this, or it automatically would filter through.
It applies everywhere.
But the reason Apple and Google are like, no, this is not our problem, which they're right. It's not their problem. They didn't build these apps that are causing these problems. But also, these laws come with real penalties. There's liability associated with it. And we saw in Australia, there was tons of accounts deleted, but there was also fines associated with if there's a single case of a teenager who is using a platform that is illegal, like that they're not old enough to be using, then it's the platform at this point that is responsible for that. So no one wants that liability. So that's why there's all this fighting back and forth between, no, you should be the one who has to do this. No, you should be the one who has to do this. It probably should be Apple and Google, but I don't want to let that distract from the fact that I also don't think the government's the ones that should be doing this.
Right. So that was the nuts and bolts correction. And then we did actually hear from a number of people in the UK, and which I feel like would be the best to speak to their feelings about this. One, I think they gave me permission, but I won't mention their name because I'm not sure. But they're a parent based in the UK, 2 daughters. And they're not in an age where this would be an issue yet, but it will be someday. And to them, it is a little scary. They're saying it's worrisome how involved the government would be in the age verification and things like that. So that was one thought. And then also a friend of the show, Theo, he is a young person in the UK, so would be affected by this ban specifically, was actually he said he was in favor of it because he does not have access to some of these apps just personally, and friends do, and there's a discrepancy there. And so there is a feeling of like, they get to use these apps and I don't. It would be nice if we were on this like level playing field. And, we talked about in the pre-show how strict we are probably with our kids about social media. And I understand that pain point sometimes. But one of the apps...
and in Theo's case, it's not just like a fear of missing out. The key piece was kids who are in that situation get picked on.
Correct.
Through no reason through no fault of their own. Parents like us are like, you can't use this, and they're like, haha, you can't use this.
Right, exactly. And that's it. And one of the apps not a part of this ban was WhatsApp. And Theo was like, I would get random people on WhatsApp contacting me.
Yeah.
It's like, that feels pretty dangerous. Like, we want to talk about age verification and keeping kids safe. That seems pretty serious. And then I want to point out Andy in the UK, he shared this on Threads, and I'll link to his post. But he thought it would be helpful to mention that the UK under 16 social media ban also has a lot to do. There's been a high media coverage of teen suicides and murders, Brianna Gay, Molly Russell, that are attributed to teen use of social media, and they loom over the topic. And I think that is, it's an important point. I want to point that out. Like, the effects of these platforms on teenagers, there's been so many studies, psychologically, socially, there's a lot of negative effect. And not listening to that at all, actually, like we were talking in the pre-show, I think it would be behooven to someone to do something about that, and we just think it should be the platforms themselves. And I want to juxtapose that with the cases here in the US and Canada, where OpenAI is in court cases right now because of the same situation. Adam Rain is someone who committed suicide because of conversations with ChatGPT. Now, I say because of. OpenAI claims that they deny the allegations that it is to blame for it. And yes, you could maybe point to other factors, but there are also cases in Canada. And the fact remains, ChatGPT told these teenagers things that likely affected their mental state, even to the point of possibly giving instructions, which seems particularly heinous. Now, in those cases with ChatGPT and OpenAI, no one is asking for a ban on ChatGPT. What they are asking for is for ChatGPT to do more to protect teens from this kind of content and information, even if they are looking for it. And they put the onus on OpenAI because I think people understand, oh, this is ChatGPT. They have control. OpenAI has control of their platform. They can do something about it. And that is the feeling that I have, and I think you share, and you can tell me in a second, that is the feeling I would like to attribute to Meta and to Google and to the platforms that are creating an environment that includes harassment and includes bullying. And it's not that we are in favor of these platforms and we want teenagers to have unfettered access. I think the onus should be on the platforms to put levers, controls, adjust algorithms to make it a safer place. And one example could be on Instagram for teenagers under a certain age, put this in the parental controls, which Instagram has done better at its parental controls. I use them to say comments are off. You have just no comments on posts or reels. Maybe turn off DMs. And there are controls for that now where teenagers can either not DM or only DM contacts that parents approve. Do things like that to make these platforms safer, because it is I feel it should be the platform's responsibility who makes this environment to be responsible for this environment, rather than an age verification that then dictates who can use these platforms. And I just want it to be clear, there are very unfortunate, sad situations. There are tragedies related to the effects of these platforms. And I think we should be pointing our fingers and eyes at those in control of the platforms themselves, rather than using a government ban to just restrict total access. And I just wanted to be clear on that.
Yeah, I think you are very clear. And I think that the problem is that I think that this ban is a bad idea. But it's not because I think 16 or 15 or 14-year-olds using social media is a good idea, right? That's not the same thing. Right. And I also think that any of these cases that you described are a tragedy. I believe that the platforms in those cases, well, I shouldn't say, I don't know the facts of all of them. I think there are many cases where the platform should be liable for that, right? We saw this scenario where Mark Zuckerberg was before Congress, and there was a whole bunch of moms and parents who were there, and he was given the opportunity to turn around and apologize to those people, and he just couldn't even bring himself to find the words to do that, because they cannot admit any liability in any of these things, which I understand. They're trillion-dollar companies and they whatever. But the thing is, you made the product this way. You made the product. The problem is not the age of the people using it. It's what they're exposed to. And that is a problem that could be solved without the government dictating these things. And even in the case of the person who said, I think that it's I would be in favor of this because then I wouldn't get picked up, which I think is totally valid. I'm not taking issue. The thing is, that is a very narrow view of solving one problem, but introducing a much bigger problem, which is the government stepping in and saying, we have to verify ages of everyone who's using these devices. Because when you start to play that out, what does that actually mean? It's no, I don't want the government involved in that. Nope. Don't do it. I'm not uploading my bank statements just to use Instagram. I don't want to do Face ID, and I don't want to upload my driver's license. I don't want to have to do these things. And that is the logical conclusion, which is, again, what we said last week. I did not say that this law requires a federal database of IDs, although I promise you every government in the world would love a database of IDs. They would love that. Sure, I promise you. Yeah. Just ask them. They probably will even say it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a problem that is very serious. It needs to be solved. The easiest way to solve it is to hold the platforms accountable for what's happening.
That. And to be clear, in the case of ChatGPT and Adam Rain, ChatGPT, there are chat logs that are part of the case that have come out, and ChatGPT actively discouraged him from seeking mental help, offered to help him write a note to leave, and advised him on instructions of what to do. That is horrible.
Yeah.
That is horrible. And while you can't point to a person and say, you wrote these words and sent it to this teenager, it is clearly the product, ChatGPT, that did not have the proper safeguards to help this person, to encourage him to seek mental health. Like the fact that it discouraged him to seek mental health is abhorrent. And I think that is, while the hardest example, if you look at Instagram or TikTok, you have much more surface level examples of that. Maybe it is bullying from person to person, kid to kid, teenager to teenager, but just the kind of content that is promoted. Like the algorithm is not a black box to the platforms. The platforms.
I mean, it kind of is actually. Just to be honest, they don't actually know how. And that is the problem. You can put safeguards, but you cannot literally hard code every possible scenario of what. Now, I'm not saying that gives them an escape from the liability. I'm simply saying this is what you built. You built a thing that you have no idea what it's going to do in every situation.
Although, ironically, if you go to the Instagram Reels page, there is now a your algorithm section, and you can go and actually tell it topics you are interested in or not, and it will tweak the algorithm. Now, to your point, that's not going to dictate every reel that comes your way because there's millions of them and whatever. But surely Meta could say, for accounts 18 and under, don't index so hard on these topics, be it violence, be it discrimination, all of those things. Like, we need to crank that to 0 as much as possible. And that's something I imagine the platforms have control over. And tangentially related, the last thing I'll say, a Patreon CEO, Jack Conte, he was on the Decoder episode earlier this week. I'm going to link it in my top 5 tech episode because he really speaks eloquently about the failings of social media over the last 10 years. Not just the bullying and, bad content or whatever, but also the things that you wouldn't say should be outlawed, but the polarization that social media fosters just amongst people and amongst their thinking and how they approach certain topics. It has largely failed people and has molded the way they think in not great ways. And those are maybe not as dangerous as some of the cases that we've talked about just now, but are still hurtful and have a negative impact on society and people. And so all that to say, we are not super supportive of the social platforms. We are not defending them. But we just, I think, are trying to offer, maybe there's other ways to protect teenagers, to guard them against certain content, and maybe an age verification is not the best way to do that.
Yeah, I don't think young teenagers should be using social media, and that's the policy I've implemented in my own home with my own children. I also don't think the government should be placing a ban on everyone under the age of 16 because the only way to enforce that is to check everyone's age.
Right, yeah, exactly. All right, well, let's talk about something not even related, but Personal Tech Prime Day. You put Prime Day.
I don't know. I just realized it was Prime Day, and I was like, oh, it's
Prime Day. I've been posting Prime Day stuff. You can get AirPods Max for $400, the cheapest they've ever been.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a great deal for AirPods Max. And AirPods Pro are on sale for $70 off, too, I think.
That's it. Do you have an iPad mini?
I have a previous gen. I am tempted because it's a little bit long in the tooth. And it also has this problem where, like, basically if you leave it sitting out for more than 17 hours, it just drains.
It just dies.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I posted that the iPad mini was on sale. It's $400 right now for the base iPad mini, which is the cheapest, I think, iPad mini you can get ever. And I was tempted by it. I bought it. And then I canceled it. Because after I bought it, I was like, what am I going to do with this thing?
Ooh, see, I use mine all the time because mine has cellular. And the single biggest reason I didn't want to that it was holding me back is that I was using Google Fi. And it doesn't support eSIM on those devices. Google Fi supports eSIM, but it just doesn't support it on those extra devices. And I switched to Mint Mobile.
This is not an ad.
No, it's not. But it is cheaper. And it's T-Mobile. And it's like, it just uses T-Mobile service is what I'm trying to say, which also Google Fi does. Sure. And it works. And so I did switch to that. And the only downside is you have to pay for like a year. But that's fine. I don't have to think about it for a year now, basically, of service on it. And nice. I wouldn't I'd be more likely to buy the new one at that price now because I could just move the service to that. But I use it. I sit in a lot of soccer games while people are warming up, waiting. Sure. I sit in a lot of cars waiting for stuff. Being able to just pull out a little iPad mini, do a couple things, read stuff, play a game of chess, watch a video, whatever. It's like, it's pretty nice. In fact, if it had a better screen, probably leave the iPad Pro at home.
See, and a bunch of people were saying like, oh, new iPad mini is going to come out this fall. Don't buy it now. I'm like, I don't know. iPad mini goes like 18 years between releases, so I don't know about that. Side note, I will say, we mentioned chess.com. I think we talked about it in the pre-show, and you just mentioned it again now. Someone on the chess.com team actually listens to the show. They're actually on the marketing team of chess.com. I just want to throw that out there. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I'll put a link to the Prime Day deal. I put together a list. It's my affiliate links. Jason gets no money, so don't worry about that for my affiliate links. But there are some good deals. There's a lot of great charger deals and stuff, and so I'll put a link to that in the show notes somewhere. But we're going to go talk about headphones because I have 3 pairs of over-the-ear headphones in front of me that I've been trying out. One of them, Jason says, has always been the best. And so we're going to talk about that, the Bowers & Wilkins. You can listen to our bonus content, get an ad-free version of the show, get the pre-show, get Primary Tech Daily. You get all the things when you support the show. The link in the show notes gets you $2.50 a month or $25 a year to support the show. We appreciate your support. If you haven't left us a 5-star rating and review, help us get to 500. We're at like 470-something right now ratings in Apple Podcasts. Help us get to 500. And I don't know. Let us know what are you most excited for iOS 27. You can let us know in that 5-star review, especially if you've never done it before. If you redo a 5-star review, it doesn't add a number, just so you know. But that's fine. You can still do it. But if you've never done it before, we appreciate a 5-star rating and review in Apple Podcasts. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.